So, where were you when you first heard about the virus?
I was, I'm trying to remember. I might have been in New York.
New York, okay.
Yes.
Do you think it's dangerous?
Well, yes.
Okay. So, what do you think that the country should do to prevent the virus from spreading in their countries?
So I think we need a unified, global process. Wouldn't
Okay.
it be wonderful if China and the World Health Organization and various other countries work together for detection and research?
Okay. So, what do you think about quarantine? You think it should be enforced, or should be, the will of the people? Self-will, so to say.
Do you mean, so is your question whether individuals should choose just to self-quarantine?
Yeah. That's
So I think when you're faced with outbreaks, you'd want a coordinated public effort. That's why we have governments.
Yes.
So I think governments could have good. So I think that some quarantining is good, and I just wish they would have caught it earlier.
All right. Yes. Because it's like, for example, releasing a wild animal into society. It's gonna affect everyone. So.
That's perhaps not a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
but I would. Yes. So
it's dangerous.
Yes.
Okay, so the next question is last one. Where do you think the virus came from? Was it like bats?
Okay, so I mean, the virus certainly started in Wuhan. There seems to be some evidence that it began at a wild market. You, as a student, must surely know about the word zoonosis.
Yes.
And of course, so it seems likely that it is.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. And these happen, and they happen more rapidly in our contemporary world with these large concentrations of animals. So I also think that more humane conditions for raising animals would reduce the risk, though I can understand why everyone in China is not rapidly becoming vegetarian.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, that was it. Thank you very much. When did you first heard about the coronavirus?
About several weeks ago.
Several weeks ago. So, okay, did you got scared, or were you like, okay?
Not really.
Okay.
We have experienced this before, like SARS, 2003.
Yeah. Okay.
Much more severe disease, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So, what do you think about the spread and about the countries that, what measures should the country do to, prevent the spread in, for example, Europe, in America, Russia is already taking measures. What do you think, the country should do?
I think they're doing the right things. I think they have made very righteous decisions to lock down the city of Wuhan.
Okay, yeah.
The only thing is they did it too late.
Okay.
Too late.
Yeah.
But, all this bureaucratic thing going on, and
Okay, awesome. So, what do you think was the cause for, I'd say exactly the scientific way, but like the spread? Why did it happen like on China and, is there
I
like
think the best answer is that we don't know.
Okay.
Because it's very complicated.
Okay.
A lot of people say it's something to do with the seafood or the bats or some strange animals Chinese people eat.
All right.
But this could be just part of the reason.
Okay.
It could be more complicated. I think it's going to take much longer to find out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So that was it. Thanks. So, where were you when you heard about the coronavirus?
I was at my home in Macedonia, in Ohrid.
Okay.
Nothing special. I heard on news, so on TV, along with my parents.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you think that the coronavirus is dangerous?
I hope not, because right after I heard, I went for a trip and I stayed 20 hours on the airport. So if someone have it, then I have it, and we will see.
Okay,
but
all
I
right.
think no.
Then I have it already.
Yeah, okay. Good luck.
All right. So, do you think, like, what should the measures that the country should do to prevent more spread? Like, for example, the United States, as for example, people that have been outside of the country. If I don't know if it's only China, but people that have been outside of the country, when they enter, they have to be 40 days. On quarantine. What do you think that the country should do that?
I think it's not fair someone to be banned 40 days somewhere, but there was some deal with the thermal cameras. I don't know if that's working or if it's on power, but maybe that's okay. That's enough.
Okay. Yeah, by the way, here in Portugal, for example, if a person doesn't want to be in the quarantine, that person can just choose not to be in the quarantine.
Okay.
Like, do you think that a person should be in quarantine, like it should be reinforced, or do you think that if the person doesn't want to be in quarantine?
Nah, I don't think anyone should be forced anywhere. So.
Okay.
I don't
Alright.
think it's a measure.
Okay.
Something smarter should be thought of.
Okay. All right. What was the main reason for the coronavirus? Do you think that, for example, it came from bats, or do you think that
There is conspiracy theories that it's so we can lower down the number of the people on Earth, or people to lower down. But I don't think it's that. I haven't thought of what is particularly, but maybe some experiments in laboratory and brought to this. But
Okay.
I have no idea.
like for example, Resident Evil with the Umbrella
I
Corporation?
have no idea.
Oh, okay,
You haven't
yeah.
heard this from me.
Oh, all right.
Joke.
Yeah. So okay. So yeah, that was it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Where were you when you heard about the coronavirus?
The first time I think it was home
Okay.
on the news.
All right. So do you think it's dangerous?
Maybe.
All right. So what's your opinion about the countries? What should the countries do to prevent the spread in their countries?
Well, I've heard just in Portugal a few cases that may be, and the rest I think it's in China or
Right.
something like that. But the cases I've heard in Portugal, they are having extremely cautious, so I don't know if it's gonna come up and have a case like in China.
Okay.
But probably I don't know, because the system, the health system
Yeah.
is different from country to country.
Yeah.
And so far here in Portugal, I think they have the right cautious
Okay,
when it
okay.
comes to prepare and see if it's really the virus.
All right.
So I think the other countries probably should follow the same thing.
Okay, awesome. So what do you think about the quarantine? Like, do you think that the quarantine should be enforced, or should be the choice of people to be on quarantine or not?
Depends, because sometimes people ignore the symptoms and
Yeah.
so I think it depends on the people and the state of the health.
All right. So where did the virus come from?
Well, I've heard it was something about China, but I didn't read anything else. So
Okay, all right. Where were you when you heard about the coronavirus?
I was actually studying in Budapest because that's where I study.
Okay.
My bachelor's.
All right. So were you scared when you heard about the coronavirus?
Actually, yes, because my course has like 80% of Chinese students.
Okay.
And right now,
Oh.
about 60% of them are in China, and they will
Okay.
be coming back from China. So I'm not sure what's gonna happen with my course, if they're gonna postpone it or not. Because one of my friends, like she's in Hong Kong,
Yeah.
and her course got postponed, and now their semester is gonna start after a month.
Okay. Oh, yeah, exactly. So if you see someone coughing, you gotta be careful.
Yeah, I've got to go to mask though.
Okay.
Because, yeah,
Yeah.
for some sure reasons.
Yeah, you don't want one of them coronavirus in you. All right. So, do you think that so if you're scared, you think it's very dangerous, right?
Of course, like it had almost 680 deaths now.
Okay.
And it's spreading really fast. I mean,
Okay.
there were other diseases like swine flu and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I am not sure how dangerous it is because most of it is being inflated by the media.
Yeah.
And this is also the first time that China is actually showing what is going on with
Yeah.
their country. Before there was
Okay.
another virus that they didn't
Yeah.
expose. And,
Okay.
But this time they are, and they're actually putting people into quarantine, so that's a good thing.
Okay. Finally, right? So, what do you think that the countries, without being China, should do to prevent the spread in their own countries?
I think quarantine is a good first step, but secondly, they should actually check the people who are going from China to other countries
Okay.
and check if there are any, symptoms or stuff like that they
Okay.
have, and if they do, they should put them into quarantine as well. And that should be the first step. But I also heard that Lisbon is not doing any checkings. They're not checking any
Okay.
temperatures of the people who are coming from China.
All right.
Which I don't know why, because
Yeah.
for other countries that is happening, and it's like one of the countries that is not doing anything like that.
Yeah. So, do you think that this disease will spread a lot, or do you think it will be like like Ebola and Ebola, and other small diseases that have affected, this century?
I think, first of all, Ebola and all the other viruses were not exactly in China, and China is the first country, being the most populous country in the world.
Okay.
And second to it is India, where I come from.
Okay.
But the thing about it is, like, once it starts getting spread in Asia, Europe, and America, nothing that are not going to be infected with it as well.
Okay.
So I hope it doesn't, but right now it seems like it's getting spread as fast as it can. So maybe if they come up with a way to diagnose it faster and way to treat it, then I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem, because it's pneumonia after all, and pneumonia has been cured before as well.
Yeah.
So if they are able to find what exactly is the diagnosis, then maybe they are able to treat it as well.
Okay, awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.